Deep beneath the earth is a place crawling with monsters and deadly traps. A place they call the Labyrinth. Adventurers who brave this hellscape generally fall into one of 4 classes. First up, the warriors. They're the party's frontline tanks, built like a brick wall. Second are the priests, the party's lifeline with their holy support magic. This one seems a little on edge though, pointing out the obvious. This is the only path they can take. Third, you have the mages, the absolute core of any decent party. One of them spots trouble up ahead. The giant rat locks eyes with them, and they totally panic. Ugh, it made eye contact with me, the warrior mutters. The priest pipes up, you go first, I'll back you up. They start arguing, neither wanting to do the grunt work. Just as they're about to lose it, a calm voice cuts through the chaos. If it's all right, may I handle this? And folks, this is our 4th type of adventurer, one with absolutely no combat skills, the guide. They're totally confused. A guide's only job is to detect traps or point out a monster's weakness. When it comes to an actual fight, guides are basically just normal people. As the guide steps forward, the priest wonders if they should stop him. Wait, you totally let him go first because you're scared. She stares pointedly at the warrior. He quickly denies it. He was just curious to see how a guide would fight. Alright kids, here's a diagram for warrior levels. A very strong guide would probably be equal to a warrior at beginner level. That's how weak they were. But our guy has his reasons why he's doing this. Then he does something insane. He clicks the lantern off, plunging the path into total darkness. The guide calmly explains his strategy. Labyrinth rats are nocturnal, so bright light actually makes them more cautious. So if we take advantage of that and turn off the lantern, the labyrinth rat will charge straight toward its prey. The beast barrels toward him like a freight train. This is way more dangerous than he expected, but he needs it to be a little bit more closer. And once it's right in his face, he turns the light back on full blast. The sudden, intense flash of light completely fries the rat's sensitive eyes, causing it to reel back screaming in agony. With the monster blinded and disoriented, he draws his knife and lunges forward. He plunges the blade deep into the rat's neck. With one final spurt of blood, the beast is dead. Nice, I did it, he says, breathing a sigh of relief. His party members are absolutely floored. The priest shouts, so that's what the lantern was for. You're amazing, guide. He just sheepishly brushes it off. It was just a labyrinth rat, he says. Still, he can't help but think to himself that this is a huge improvement from before. Just then, the priest's face drains of all color. Guide, behind you. Oh no, an even bigger rat monster is looming right behind him, ready to strike. He knows he's toast. But suddenly, a massive blast of fire erupts, completely incinerating the monster. He instantly recognizes this flame. Why did you jump in alone? The mage asks. The hood falls to reveal that the mage is Raina, our MC's childhood friend. They were separated years ago and only recently reunited. He can't help but marvel at how incredibly strong she's become. He's low-key salty. If I hadn't let my guard down, I could have taken them all. He grumbles. Yeah, right. Raina just smiles. A thank you would be nice. He gives her a lazy wave, not even looking at her. Yeah, you saved my life. Thanks. Raina just hums, clearly a little disappointed by his super casual response. As he sits down to rest, she walks over and taps his shoulder. You've looked off since earlier. Is something bothering you? She admits it's strange seeing him as a guide. Weren't you the one who said you wanted to become a hero? Is this because of that incident? His expression darkens immediately at the mention of it. That incident, huh? He admits his childhood dream was to be a hero, but everything changed that day. His mind flashes back to a scene of pure chaos. As a child, he stood frozen while everyone else screamed and ran for their lives. The day his town was attacked by monsters, he realized something important about himself. He ran out to try and save people, but he was far too weak to do anything at all. That was the moment he realized he could never ever become a hero. So he just ran away from that dream and became a guide instead. Raina looks down, saddened. So it really was because of that. But then why did he take on that giant rat by himself if he really believes he's so weak? The guide explains that he has something he absolutely needs to achieve. And to do that, he has to get stronger. Classic MC response. We love it. In response, Raina just gives him a soft, knowing smile. Breaking the heavy mood, Raina claps her hands and says it's time to find that mandrake they were hired to get. You see, adventurers make a living from taking on quests, and low-level noobs like them usually have to team up. He decides they should regroup with the warrior and priest and get this over with. But as he turns to leave, he can't help but glance down a dark, ominous-looking tunnel. Raina asks if he senses something down there, but he brushes it off as just a weird feeling. Bro, you never ignore the weird feeling. To cover more ground, the party decided to split up for their search. The warrior and priest took Area C, while the guide and Raina were headed to Area B. Meanwhile, over in the pillared halls of Area C, the warrior and priest are searching. The warrior suggests they check the other side of the massive hall. Wait, we already checked that way, he yells at the priest. She quickly apologizes for not paying attention. Why was she spacing out like that? The warrior grumbles. Was it because of the guide's performance earlier? And that's when he spots it. A treasure chest. He declares there is no way he's just walking past it. The priest is surprised he actually plans on opening it. The priest nervously suggests they should ask the guide first, just in case it's trapped. Hearing the guide's name just ticks the warrior off. We don't need him for this. I can handle it. just watch me. The priest weakly mentions the mandrake quest, but the warrior is already marching towards his prize. Over in Area B, Raina asks the guide what in the world he's doing as he inspects a handful of soil. He explains that mandrakes have a distinct scent, so you can find them by sniffing the dirt. Raina seems impressed by his very guide-ish method. Seeing this, Raina gets a pretty clever idea. As the guide looks on, she begins to cast a spell right in front of him. A gentle, glowing blue energy begins to emanate from her hand. She explains it's a sense-boosting spell that will dramatically heighten his sense of smell for a while, hoping it will help speed things up. She says she just didn't want to stand around doing nothing. The guide nods, certain he can find the mandrake quickly now. Thanks to his new super sniffer, he quickly picks up the scent and leads them toward a dark cave covered in thick, gnarled roots. And inside, they find it, the mandrake they were looking for. But after Raina picks it up, she notices the guide is still staring deeper into the cave, completely focused. With his enhanced smell, he can pick up something else, a faint, foul stench that's getting stronger the deeper they go. He knows he's smelled this disgusting odor somewhere before. Meanwhile, Raina is trying to break the awkward silence and asks if he heard about the royal army taking down a group of bandits recently. Some got away, and a hero is supposedly on the case now to hunt them down. Raina then brings up another rumor, the missing merchant case that happened right near this very labyrinth. She lays out her theory. What if the bandits are the ones who killed the merchants and are now hiding out in this labyrinth? The guide's hand suddenly tenses up. She continues, saying a ruined place like this would be a perfect hideout. But seeing his silence, she stops. Wait, don't tell me you're scared. She starts to tease him about it, but he cuts her off with one word. Smell. He repeats himself, his expression completely grim. There's a smell. Raina is startled, thinking he's talking about her. What? No way, I showered this morning. He turns to her, his voice dead serious. A corpse smell, Raina. He says the smell is strongest this way, and Raina agrees she can smell it now too. They cautiously follow the stench. Their footsteps echo through the silent halls as they press forward. They finally arrive at a ledge overlooking a horrifying scene. Below them is a sewer canal, completely choked with dozens of floating, rotting corpses. Back in Area C, the warrior finally pries open the treasure chest. The priest nervously suggests they should get back to searching for the mandrake now. The warrior, his back still to the priest, just says, "I'm almost done here." The priest looks on, a deep sense of unease washing over her. She feels it in her gut. This whole area just feels unsettling. Suddenly, a sharp cracking sound makes her flinch and whip her head. She stares into a dark doorway, wondering what could have made that sound. She's startled again as the chest finally clicks open. It opened. The warrior yelps. She cries out in alarm, telling the warrior not to just open it like that without checking for traps, but the warrior just laughs triumphantly. Haha, I told you just to watch, didn't I? The warrior, panting and sweating from the effort, boasts that opening the chest was a piece of cake. The priest is so not impressed, telling him to wipe his sweat off before he talks. Just then, the priest looks around the massive empty chamber. She wonders if there might be a hidden chamber somewhere in this huge space. Ignoring the priest's caution, the warrior digs into the chest, eager to check out the loot they just found. The priest, however, is still hung up on that strange noise she heard earlier. As the warrior starts getting excited about their haul, the priest suddenly flinches, her anxiety spiking. She calls out to his companion, whose name is apparently Simon. "Simon, did you not hear that sound earlier?" There's no response. The priest calls his name again. She presses again, "Simon, I'm asking if you heard anything just now." Still, Simon just stands there, utterly motionless. Getting seriously worried now, the priest reaches out to touch her partner's shoulder, telling him to say something. But the moment he makes contact, Simon's body goes limp and collapses to the ground with a heavy thud. Meanwhile, the guide is sprinting through the labyrinth, a look of pure panic on his face. After what he just saw, he knows they need to regroup immediately, because being separated right now is a death sentence. Back in the treasure room, the priest cradles the dying warrior. She frantically realizes a poison dart must have hit Simon. There's someone with them here. Before she can even process the threat, the shadowy man lunges forward and grabs the priest by the face. There's a flash of terror in the priest's eye, and then a brutal slam as she's smashed headfirst against the wall. Then, a sickening sound. The thug tried to stab her, but the priest bravely defends herself. She's terrified. The bandit sneers, saying they picked the worst possible time to show up. He was just about to leave. With a sinister grin, he decides he is just going to end them all right here, right now. But just as he moves in for the final blow, another hand shoots out and grabs his wrist. It's the guide. He appears out of nowhere and tackles the thug. The bandit can only grunt in pain and surprise as he is completely thrown off balance. And bam, the guide slams him into the cold stone floor. Furious, the bandit can only grit his teeth and curse him out. Before he can even think about getting up, the guide is on his back, locking him in a desperate chokehold. He's straining to hold this absolute unit of a man, and he screams out, "Shoot, Raina!" Raina does not even hesitate. A ball of pure energy forms in her hand as she chants, "Magic bullet." A searing beam of light rockets across the cavern, heading straight for the two struggling men. And it is a direct hit. The magic bullet slams right into the bandit's head with a sickening splat. The guide immediately rushes to the unconscious priest, and a faint golden light glows from his hand as he tries to heal her. Raina is completely shocked. "You can use divine power?" but he explains he can only stop bleeding, nothing more. Then he realizes the situation is even worse. The warrior and priest have both been poisoned. They need to move now. But just then, the downed bandit starts laughing. That's impossible, he taunts. My friends will be here any second. He tells them to surrender to avoid a painful end, and Raina responds by bonking his head. She thinks this guy is just trying to psych them out, but the guide's scanning the area, and his fears are confirmed when he spots bags of stolen goods. This is not just a cave, it is a bandit hideout. The threat of more bandits is very real. Shoot, he curses, finally realizing just how bad their situation truly is. And to make matters 1,000 times worse, he can hear voices approaching in the distance. The panic is starting to set in. He can't just abandon his injured friends. But what can a simple guide do against a whole group of bandits? The wounded priest weakly calls out to him, "Guide, please." Her desperate plea is the final straw. He is suddenly overwhelmed by a traumatic memory from his past. He remembers his mother's voice. She's covering his eyes as a child, trying to shield him from a horrible sight. She told him it was hopeless. Didn't he remember that monster attack? He already failed by turning away from a crying child. Listen carefully, Cariel. Her voice echoes in his mind. Saving people is a job for the strong. And you are weak. Her final piece of advice still haunts him to this day, so just pretend you did not see them. Back then he agreed with her. He believed a weak person like him could never save anyone. Cariel, Raina shouts, snapping him out of his downward spiral. Are you okay? She yells, her voice filled with genuine concern. You need to snap out of it. He shakes his head, forcing himself to focus. Right, he thinks, now is not the time for this. He apologizes for worrying her. The #1 priority right now is survival. He quickly sizes up their terrible situation. It is them against experienced bandits, and their team is 2 injured members down. But then, an idea sparks. Wait a minute. The labyrinth. Yes, this might actually work. He turns to Raina with a look of pure confidence. From now on, follow my lead. I have a way out of here. Meanwhile, the rest of the bandits are making their way through the tunnels. Their leader tells them to hurry it up. Apparently, their boss got taken out by a hero, so they need to pack up and leave. But as they round the next corner, they stop dead in their tracks, because Cariel is standing there waiting for them, and he is all alone. The bandits are totally confused. This guy is not the hero. Then one of them spots what he is holding. Hey, is that guy holding our stuff? He's dangling the small pouch of jewels right in front of them. One of the bandits absolutely explodes with anger. Is that punk trying to steal our jewels? Get him. But the leader holds him back. We're in a hurry, he says calmly. No unnecessary fights. He holds out his hand, offering a deal. Just hand over the goods and we will let you walk. Yeah, right. Cariel knows it is a lie. These guys are not just thieves, they are stone-cold killers. And hiding just out of sight, Raina knows what is about to go down. Her hands start glowing with magical energy. Cariel knows his cue. He casually tosses the pouch of jewels right towards the bandits. The bandit leader smirks, calling him a quick thinker for giving in so easily. But that smirk turns sinister as he adds, too bad our policy is to kill all witnesses. And suddenly, a massive fireball erupts from the side, catching the bandits completely by surprise. Cariel clenches his fist, desperately hoping that Raina's surprise attack was enough. But as the smoke clears, a single figure emerges from the flames, and he is absolutely furious. How dare you pull a cheap trick like that, he roars. You are not getting an easy death. Cariel curses. Plan A failed. Time to move on to Plan B. Without a second of hesitation, he turns and bolts deeper into the labyrinth, with the bandits right on his tail. He thinks to himself that the attack was not a total waste. At least it drained some of their stamina. The leader yells at his men, warning them that there is a mage hiding somewhere, so they need to stay sharp. As Cariel sprints for his life, a projectile whizzes right past his head. He stumbles, his legs shaking from the pressure. He just needs to go a little bit further. He is almost at the front part of the passage, but before he can make it, one of the big goons catches up and lands a solid punch right to his jaw. He grits his teeth through the pain, telling himself to just hold on for a little longer. The leader shoves his own guy out of the way, absolutely furious. Move it. I am gonna roast this guy myself. Cariel knows he is trapped. He can't dodge in his current state, and he collapses to the ground. But just then, the leader spots her. Raina is in the distance, a massive magic circle forming at her feet. He grits his teeth, realizing he let his guard down for a second too long. Raina slams her hands to the ground, unleashing the spell. The leader is livid. You have been getting on my nerves, he screams. Fine, you want a duel? Let us go. But he stops short, because he realizes the attack is not even aimed at him. The spell slams directly into the ceiling, sealing up all the exits. The bandit leader just starts laughing. He thinks he gets it. Cariel just sacrificed himself to save his friends. He sneers. Do not think I can't break this wall. It is just that killing you first is my top priority, you little punk. Panting on the ground, Cariel just smirks back. Not gonna happen. In a quick flashback, we see Cariel laying out the plan. Lure the bandits away, and if the first attack fails, lead them to Section C. Raina had completely rejected the plan, yelling that he was just using himself as bait so they could escape. Cariel calmly explains that there is another part to the plan. A crucial part he had not told her yet. He asks if that sensory magic she used before could be reversed to block sound instead. Back in the present, Cariel reaches down and grabs something from the ground. It is a mandrake, a monster famous for its deadly scream. Bandits watch, confused, until one of them realizes what is happening. He calls Cariel a complete madman. You see, a mandrake's scream can cause hallucinations, sickness, and in the worst cases, even death. The bandits start to panic, finally realizing the insane danger they are in. What is he doing? Stop him! The leader screams at the top of his lungs. Is he trying to take us all down with him? Everyone, cover your ears. Cariel thinks to himself, in this case, I'm just not gonna listen. He's got a magical rune glowing over his ear, completely blocking the sound. With one final desperate heave, he rips the mandrake clean out of the ground. The creature lets out a blood-curdling, inhuman shriek that echoes throughout the entire cavern. The unprotected bandits get hit with the full force of the sonic assault, and they start reeling in absolute agony. Meanwhile, in a sunlit forest far, far away, a mysterious figure in heavy armor takes a determined step forward. Knight surveys the area. It is definitely around here, he thinks. I can smell it? With the bandits totally stunned by the mandrake's scream, the guide sees his opening and makes his move. The bandit leader is still dizzy but tries to act tough, boasting that he definitely landed a good hit. Talk about delusional. But when he actually looks, poof, the guide has vanished. The leader starts to panic, shouting for his men to be careful, but it's way too late. A fist smashes into his jaw out of nowhere. The guide reappears, dropping some serious battle IQ. He explains that the mandrake's scream is magical, so you always take out the mage first. Smart. With the magic user down, he immediately blitzes the next bandit, moving in to finish the job. This poor guy is completely frozen with fear, barely able to beg for a timeout. But there's no mercy here. The guide unleashes a devastating kick that slams right into the bandit's chest. He stomps the man into the dirt and is already scanning the area, his eyes locked onto his next target. Absolutely ruthless. Suddenly, the huge bandit leader lunges from behind, trying to land a cheap shot tackle. But the guide's reflexes are on another level. He twists his body with incredible speed, narrowly dodging the attack. The bandit is absolutely furious. He roars in anger and throws a massive punch straight down at the guide. The guide braces himself and blocks the insane blow with just his forearm, and the impact literally shakes the ground beneath them. The bandit is in total disbelief, but he's got a cheap trick of his own. A thumb comes flying in. Anne's blood splatters everywhere. The thug just tried to gouge his eye out, but our MC was able to dodge at the last second. The bandit leader thrashes around, but it's useless. The guide has him completely pinned in a brutal lock. With one final scream of agony, the bandit's arm goes limp. It is officially over. Total domination. Sometime later, Cariel and Raina are carrying the injured party members through a tunnel. She's relieved their plan worked, but she's almost out of magic. She gets a little cheeky, smirking that the whole plan would have been a bust without her, right? He admits she's right. He wouldn't even have tried it without a mage of her level. Then he says with total sincerity, more than anything, thanks for going along with such a reckless plan, Raina. Raina gets all flustered and tries to play it off, but then quietly admits, you were cool too. No, you were like a hero today. Hearing that praise, the guide can't help but let a small, genuine smile cross his face. As they approach the end of the tunnel, they talk about catching up after this adventure. Raina beams, saying she has tons to talk about. She points ahead excitedly. Look over there, Cariel. It's the exit. But the guide isn't celebrating. His danger sense is tingling as he squints at the light. He knows something is wrong. And he's right. A massive, hulking figure stands silhouetted against the blinding light of the exit. The figure is wearing a terrifying grin. That is pure nightmare fuel. Cariel's eyes widen in absolute terror. He screams at Raina, we need to get back into the labyrinth right now. He spots something flying towards them at insane speed from the darkness ahead. Just as he shoves Raina out of the way, she's already reacting, unleashing a massive blast of magic to intercept the attack. The two forces collide, and the entire tunnel erupts in a blinding explosion of light and energy. Cariel is thrown to the ground, coughing. His whole body is screaming in pain as he wonders if that was a magic stone bullet. His mind is racing. That has to be the main bandit boss. He can only hope the others are okay. But most of all, he's worried for Raina. She overused her magic to protect him, and now she's vulnerable. He has to get up. Suddenly, a boot slams into his side, sending him sprawling across the ground. And look who it is. The bandit boss is standing over him, looking confused. What the heck? A guide? The boss just scoffs, calling him trash. He says he's looking for the mage so he can find and kill them quickly. As the bandit turns to leave, Cariel desperately screams in his head, wait, don't underestimate me. But his consciousness is fading. The bandit's figure begins to blur as the world goes dark. As he slips away, his mind fills with despair. He thinks, I guess this is it. Someone weak like me can't save people. Why does he even try to save people? Is it because he likes getting praised, or because he just looks up to heroes? He doesn't have any answers. He doesn't even understand what he wants to do anymore. Then, a voice from his past asks a single powerful question. Do you need a reason to save people? It's a memory of a younger Raina, there to remind him of his true desire. You wanted to become a hero to save people, right? Cariel just looks down, completely defeated. Does it even matter now? He grabs his head in frustration. He's just a guide and can't ever compare to a mage like her. She just brushes it off, saying she only has a little bit of talent. But his despair runs deep. He's been training his body and studying monsters to get stronger, but it was all for nothing. He couldn't save anyone. Looks like his mom was right all along. Raina asks if he's just gonna give up. He replies that, yeah, he won't do anything since he can't save anyone anyway. But you already know that's not true, she says. You're someone who can't ignore people in danger. He tries to dismiss it. Not anymore. And what makes you say that? Raina just points a finger straight at him. Your actions are the proof. Back in the present, Cariel is on the cavern floor, eyes wide. He realizes he had grabbed the bandit's leg purely on instinct. The bandit is clearly confused by his persistence. What are you even trying to do? He demands. And suddenly it all clicks. Cariel's eyes widen with realization as Raina's words hit him. The bandit boss throws another powerful punch, but Cariel throws his arms up, blocking the blow with a loud crack. The sheer force sends him sliding back into the cavern wall. The bandit just looks annoyed. I don't have time for this. What a pain. Cariel stumbles, struggling to even stay upright. The bandit turns his back on him again, completely dismissing him. Just lie there like that. Act your rank. But what he doesn't realize is Cariel's already spotted something. A newfound clarity fills his eyes. Meanwhile, the bandit leader finds Raina slumped over in a dark corner of the tunnel. Gotta make sure to take care of troublesome people like mages, he says, grabbing her by the hair. He drops her back to the ground. Barely conscious, Raina manages to whisper the guide's name, Cariel. The bandit just smirks, thinking she's calling for him to save her. He mocks her, saying no one is here to help. He raises his leg to deliver a finishing stomp. All right, then I'll send you to the afterlife in one shot. But before his foot can connect, Cariel appears out of nowhere, driving his fist straight into the bandit's already injured wound. The bandit's eyes go wide with shock and pain. He shouts, "You crazy fool." He punches Cariel right back, sending him flying. The bandit clutches his side. "That son of a," he groans. "He hit my injured spot." He is absolutely furious. "I was going to let you rest, but you just had to ask to be killed." His threat dissolves into a completely unhinged maniacal laugh. But Cariel pushes himself up again, a faint glow now surrounding his body. "You're getting up again? You weed," the bandit shouts. He finally realizes what's important now isn't some grand reason to fight. He's done looking for excuses. He's going to do this simply because he wants to, because he feels like it. He will save people. Period. The bandit leader smirks, surprised a mere guide has any fight in him. But he's not impressed, asking what a low-level nobody could possibly do. "Nothing's going to change," he scoffs, totally writing our boy off. And Cariel knows he's not wrong. His party is wrecked and Raina is out cold. This is bad. But he's not giving up. He clenches his fist, stealing his resolve. He just needs to stall. His whole plan hinges on one thing. The hero that's been hunting these bandits has to be on their way. With a sudden burst of speed, Cariel explodes forward, closing the gap in a heartbeat. He winds up, ready to throw a massive right hook. The bandit leader's eyes go wide, already preparing his counter. He unleashes his own punch, expecting an easy knockout. But our guy was never there to begin with. It was a total feint. "You little trickster," the bandit roars, realizing he just got played like a fiddle. Cariel knows a simple scratch won't do anything, and with his knife broken, he has to get creative. He needs a weak point, and he aims for the bleeding wound, but the thug stops him cold. Then, with perfect timing, he drives an elbow into Cariel, and then, a knee. Cariel grunts in pain. That blow was an absolute monster. Stumbling back, he hears the bandit mock him. "You really think one lucky hit was gonna win this?" With a desperate scream, Cariel fights to stay standing. He knows he can't go down yet. He lunges at the bandit again. The bandit leader just scoffs. What an absolute fool. He was almost impressed for a second, but now he just sees this as a total waste of time. Panting on the ground, the guide weakly grabs the bandit's leg. His strength is almost gone. He thinks to himself, "I can't go on," as his vision starts to fade. The bandit just laughs, looming over him. Still clinging to life, hoping that hero will save you, he effortlessly lifts the guide up by the throat. "Thanks to you, I've had a change of plans." He was just going to leave Cariel alone at first, but now he realizes a clever guy like him is more dangerous than any mage. In his new plan, eliminate everyone. Cariel's body is screaming in protest. He just has to hold on until the hero arrives. But it's too much. His body's already at breaking point. As total despair washes over him, the bandit leader raises his hand for the final killing blow. He apologizes to Raina. He only just wanted to save everyone, just like the person he dreamed of being when he was just a kid. A hero who makes everyone feel safe just by showing up. Just then, a sound makes him look up. His eyes snap open. Someone's standing in front of him. The hero has finally arrived. Cariel can only stare up in absolute awe, tears welling in his eyes. With a sickening crunch, the hero tightens his grip on the bandit's hand. The bandit leader leaps backwards as the armored hero advances. He just doesn't get it. Why is a hero wasting time on a simple bandit instead of fighting the Demon King? The hero's voice is ice cold. The Demon King is already dead. Right now, guys like you are the biggest problem. The bandit lets out a weak laugh. "It's fine, hero. Your chase ends here." "Funny. Was thinking the exact same thing," the hero replies. The bandit lunges with his rock. "You're going down with me." But the hero is on another level. He catches the strike and deals a devastating blow. The bandit's eyes go white with pure agony and disbelief. The power difference is insane. And just like that, his body slumps to the ground, finally silenced for good. With the battle over, the hero turns to the guide. Is everyone alright? He sees how messed up our boy is and immediately offers help. You're hurt bad. I'll get you to a cathedral now. But the guide shakes his head. I'm fine. The others are in worse shape than me. He points to his fallen party members. Help them before you help me. With his duty done and his friends safe, Cariel finally collapses into the hero's arms. Oh no, the hero says, looking down at the kid who just risked it all for his friends. He's completely still, passed out cold from his injuries. A few days pass, and finally Cariel's eyes twitch and snap open with a jolt. He's alive, but he wakes up to find himself completely mummified in bandages. Where am I? He wonders, finding himself in a small cathedral on the edge of town. As he sits up, he realizes something is off. He should be in agony, but he feels no pain at all. A voice cuts through the silence. You're awake, you've been out for about 3 days. He turns to see the imposing armored figure who saved their lives back in the labyrinth. The hero says he pulled some strings for their treatment, but the guide only has one question. What about my friends? Hearing they're safe in the next room, the guide lets out a massive sigh of relief. Thank goodness. But the hero isn't done. Actually, I was waiting for you to wake up. There's something important I need to tell you. The armored man finally introduces himself. My name is Akela. I'm the hero in charge of incidents for the Royal Army. Akela explains that even with the Demon King gone, new dark forces are starting to pop up everywhere. He lists off the problems. New monsters, a sketchy secret organization, and even a hero hunter taking out heroes and monsters alike. The guide can only manage a weak smile. So things are even crazier now that the Demon King is gone, huh? Akela's tone gets dead serious. Exactly. It's like they're all fighting to fill the power vacuum he left behind. The guide gulps, getting nervous as Akela says he looked into what happened in the labyrinth. Akela praises his quick thinking. Turns out that mandrake trick he pulled was the key to capturing the entire bandit crew. The guide is relieved they got them all. But Akela warns him that the threats they're facing now can't be beaten with just brute force. I'll get straight to the point, Akela says, holding out a hand. I need a guide with your skills for my journey. Will you join me? The offer just hangs in the air, leaving our boy completely stunned into silence. He's so shocked he can only ask a question instead of giving an answer. Where would we be going? To the forest of golems, Akela replies. Suddenly, the door creaks open and Raina peeks through. Without even waiting, she bursts in and makes it clear she is not getting left behind. Cariel, who is finally awake, is just relieved she is okay, but Raina completely ignores him and starts begging Akela. She straight up tells Akela that Cariel is a walking disaster who will get himself killed without her to watch his back. Then she gets right in Cariel's face, pointing a finger like he is the one making the decision. Bro is just totally lost. She tries to sell it, saying she can just ditch school for a bit. Plus, what party would not want a powerful mage, right? With tears in her eyes, she clenches her fist and puts everything she has into one final, desperate plea. And just like that, the party is formed. Raina and Cariel have officially joined the hero on his quest. As they look out over the canyon, Cariel thinks about their destination, the Golem Forest. This quest is his one shot at a goal that once felt totally impossible. He is determined now. By traveling with this monster of a hero, he will finally get strong enough to crush that beast from his past. Akela snaps him out of it, saying it is time to move. But then Cariel notices the look on Raina's face and asks what is up. She was smiling. Turns out she's all hyped about the Golem Forest, saying she thinks golems are cute. Cariel just gives her a look, reminding her that normal people find them terrifying. He hits her with a smirk, telling her not to get her hopes up too high or she is in for a serious reality check. And so their journey begins with the party trekking along a seriously sketchy path on the side of a massive cliff. Finally reaching a cave entrance, Raina can't help but ask, so this is the Golem Forest, where are all the golems? Cariel explains that this is just a path to a quarry, and he warns her not to expect the cute little ones she was talking about. Akela is confused, so Cariel drops some knowledge about the two types of golems. See, mages make the small ones, but the ones here, they form naturally from pure magic stones, and they are absolutely massive. This whole mine is loaded with those stones, so giant golems are everywhere. And suddenly the name Golem Forest makes perfect sense to Akela. But that just raises another question for Cariel. Why exactly are they here? And as if on cue, a mysterious figure in a white mask and hood appears, complaining about getting stuck with the dirty work. He spots our crew up ahead and immediately gets sketched out, trying to just speed walk right past them. But it is too late. Akela and Raina have already spotted him. White mask, hood, and a bag. Bingo. That is their target. The kid glances back, and for a split second, their eyes meet. In that moment, Akela knows. They found him. The dude absolutely panics and immediately bolts. He is screaming in terror as he runs. Why are they chasing me? He clearly has no idea who he is messing with. Finally, he's cornered at a chasm. Akela calmly tells him it is over, but the kid just smirks, not looking worried at all. He taunts them, saying things are about to get bad for them. Cariel gets a bad feeling. This whole setup feels way too familiar. Akela has no idea what the kid is talking about. Suddenly, then the ground starts to shake. A colossal rock golem, an absolute unit, rises right above them. The masked kid just gives them a massive grin. He reveals it was all a trap to lure them here. Cariel and Raina are completely frozen, stunned by its sheer size. Cariel tries to reason that natural golems do not attack unless provoked. So is it trying to give us a high five or something? Cariel looks up, totally confused by the question. That confusion turns to pure terror as he sees the golem's massive hand coming straight down to crush them. The fist slams down with insane force. Raina screams at Cariel, "I thought you said it would not attack." But Akela does not even flinch. Without a single wasted second, he charges straight in. He meets the golem's descending arm with his own armored fist, stopping the colossal attack cold. An absolute Chad move. Akela yells at Cariel to figure out what is happening. The kid quickly deduces someone is controlling it from a core inside the golem. The real masterminds are watching from afar, shocked that the golem's arm has been stopped. The masked leader stays cool and just orders his goon to use the other arm, wondering who these guys are. But when he looks at his magic display, he cannot believe his eyes. Did that guy just stop the golem with one punch? Realizing the threat, he barks a new order. Forget the others. Target the guy on the arm. Raina looks up in pure horror, shouting a warning as the golem's second massive hand starts coming down. Akela knows taking another hit head-on is a bad idea. He needs a different plan, and he needs it now. As the second arm descends, Akela makes his move. But instead of dodging, he plants his feet and launches himself forward. And in a legendary display of pure skill, he starts sprinting straight up the golem's colossal arm, completely defying gravity. He is just a blur of motion, scaling this living mountain of rock like it is nothing. Reaching the shoulder, he kicks off with enough force to crack the stone, launching himself right at the golem's chest. Down below, Cariel and Raina can only stare, their minds completely blown by what they are seeing. This is not normal. Even the golemancers controlling this thing are losing it. The boss cannot believe what he is seeing, and his subordinate confirms the impossible is happening. The underling starts to panic, asking if they should jump in and fight him directly. But the leader just smirks, reminding his panicked subordinate that golemancers do not need to get their own hands dirty. Meanwhile, Akela has landed on the golem's shoulder and finds exactly what he was looking for, a dark opening leading into its chest. But the second he steps inside, the welcoming committee powers up. Two smaller humanoid golems activate, their cores glowing in the dark. Cariel tells Raina to focus, but even he can't help but glance back at the hero, thinking, man, that's the dream right there. And speaking of heroes, it's Akela's turn to shine. He charges the two smaller but still deadly guardian golems. He does not even flinch. Without a single word, he draws his blade. The golems flare up, their cores glowing with power. But it is too late. Akela is already moving. He unleashes a massive golden arc of pure energy from that insane sword of his. The dude moves like a blur of light, slicing clean through the first guardian before it can even blink. And the second one? It does not stand a chance. Akela is already running towards it. Another perfect slash sends its head flying. And Akela lands without a single scratch. Talk about a flawless victory. The golemancers watching this unfold are completely shook. One of them stammers, he took down a high-level golem so easily. The leader is trying to figure out a plan, but his buddy is freaking out. Wait, where did that guy go? Right on cue, a dark silhouette appears in the doorway behind them. You are so busted now, my dudes. So you were hiding in a place like this, Akela mutters. Meanwhile, Cariel and Raina are in hot pursuit of the hooded grunt. Cariel is losing ground, so he tells Raina to bind the runner. But she can only cast one spell at a time, and she's already using a spell on her broom. So he comes up with a brilliant plan. Get on my back. Raina is completely flustered by the offer. But before she can even answer, Cariel has an even crazier idea. He hops on her broom and says, I will ride, you can steer. Raina just stares at him with the most deadpan look ever. Back in the present, the runner finally stops, thinking he has escaped. Oh, you are so wrong. Because right then, Cariel comes dive-bombing out of the sky on the broom like a human missile. He slams into the guy midair, and they both go tumbling hard across the ground. But the runner is not a total pushover. He shoves Cariel off and lands a nasty punch right to his head. But Cariel dodges and grabs him by the collar, then slams him to the ground. The guy tries to protest that he doesn't know anything, but bam, Cariel punches him to the ground. He's picking up the bag when Raina walks in, asking him if that dive was too reckless. Cariel just laughs it off, rubbing his sore shoulders and asking if she threw him off on purpose. Raina is shocked and totally denies it. But then Cariel notices something. Raina is hiding her hands behind her back, and his expression turns serious. He gently takes her hand, revealing a nasty burn scar from when she overdid it in the labyrinth. A warm golden light suddenly glows from his palm. Raina is stunned. Are you using divine power? He insists on healing her, apologizing because he knows it is his fault she got hurt. Raina just blushes and thanks him. But their sweet little moment is cut short when they realize their captive is awake and listening. The guy groans from the floor. I have been awake for a while, you idiots. You were just too busy being all lovey-dovey to notice. Cariel shoves the bag in his face, demanding answers, but the dude plays dumb and says he knows nothing. Suddenly there's a crash behind him. It's Akela, and he looks rough, leaning against the wall in pain. Akela explains the deal. The golemancers are holed up behind a sealed barrier, and if they break it, the casters will die before they can talk. He asks Raina if she knows a magic sealing spell, but unfortunately, she has got nothing she can use right now. Things are looking grim. until Cariel starts scanning the warehouse and his eyes land on a big sack of flour. And just like that, a light bulb goes off in his head. That is it, the flour. He quickly asks Raina about her injury, confirming his suspicion that overusing magic generates a ton of heat. I knew it. Good. With his theory confirmed, Cariel clenches his fist. This dude has a plan. With a smirk, Cariel announces he knows how to create a situation where the golemancers will not dare use their magic. Meanwhile, the golemancers are chilling in their cave hideout, convinced they have won. They are just waiting for their super strong backup to arrive. That is when a massive cloud of white powder explodes right in their faces. They are here. One of them thinks it is just a lame smokescreen, but his partner looks closer at the dust. Wait, this is flour? Before his buddy can even think about casting a spell, he screams, "Stop! If you use magic, it will explode." From the edge of the cloud, Cariel calmly lays out the science. Fine particles plus heat equals a big boom. And as they know, mana itself is a form of heat. He gives them a choice: surrender, or be dumb enough to cast a spell in this giant floating bomb. He really does not care which they choose. The lead golemancers knows he is trapped. Sweating bullets, he grits his teeth and yells out the only words he can: "We surrender." But just as they win, somewhere else entirely, heavy footsteps echo through a dark, red-lit corridor. A new threat is on the move. This thing is a hulking beast of pure muscle and shadow. He cracks a terrifying grin and growls, "Now then, it is time to make my move." A dude in a tattered robe approaches the ominous muscled guy. These two look like serious trouble. "Seems we're a bit late," says the tattered guy. He searched the forest, but there weren't any sorcerers around. But the big guy? Totally unfazed. He just shrugs and says, "No big deal. From now on, they'll have to be 2 steps ahead of their targets." Meanwhile, Cariel is finally getting a moment of peace. He is in a carriage with Raina sleeping on his shoulder, thankful their last fight did not get crazy. So how did it end peacefully? Let us rewind a few hours. Akela was interrogating one of the golemancers they captured. The sorcerer confesses he used a dark artifact to corrupt the golem. Akela immediately asks if holy power can cleanse it. And just like that, the sorcerer confirms it is possible. With that info, Akela purified the golem and shipped the bad guys off to the cathedral. Case closed. Back in the present, with everything wrapped up, Cariel thinks he can finally relax for a bit. But that peace lasts about 2 seconds. Raina's eyes fly open as they hear someone scream, "Stop the carriage." The carriage screeches to a halt. A man outside barks orders for them to get out and surrender their stuff. He flashes a nasty grin, telling them to cooperate if they want to live. And yep, he has got a whole army of bandits with him. The driver is freaking out. But Akela? He is as cool as ice. He just steps out of the carriage to face them down. The bandit leader is completely caught off guard. He mutters, "Is that a knight?" Akela just points a finger at him and drops an ice-cold line. "A knight? How rude. I'm a hero." The leader scoffs at that, but then he plays his trump card. He shouts, "We have hostages," and reveals a group of terrified children. Cariel asks Akela for a plan. Akela just tells him to stay calm and not do anything stupid. "My friend's here," he says. Behind one of the bandits, shadowy tendrils erupt out of nowhere and completely swallow him. And from those same shadows emerges a new figure. He is rocking a sick bird-like mask with a single glowing eye. The bandit leader screams a warning to his men. "Behind you! It's behind you!" But he is way too slow. In a blink, the masked hero is on the move. He slits a bandit's throat, sending a spray of blood everywhere. The leader is completely stunned, barely able to get a word out. The newcomer is already on to the next guy, who screams about his arm. The injured bandit roars, "You scum! We have hostages," but he does not even get to finish his sentence before he is cut down. The bandit leader screams as he is caught in the whirlwind of dark power. This new hero just wiped out the entire gang in literal seconds. When the chaos dies down, Akela kneels in front of a terrified child. He gently tells her, "You're safe now." Cariel has to step over the bodies to move forward. Raina covers her mouth, looking like she is about to be sick from the smell of blood. He looks at the absolute carnage around him and cannot help but wonder why this kind of thing keeps happening. Raina, still looking pale, wants to get back to the carriage. Cariel agrees, but then asks where Akela went. Turns out, Akela is just nearby, talking to a mother and child. But where'd that other one go? A few minutes later, they're all back in the carriage. "Sorry for the late introduction," a voice says. He introduces himself as Ram, a hero who goes by the nickname Shadow. Back in the carriage, Ram explains that Akela helped him become a hero. Raina introduces herself and Cariel. Cariel is totally geeking out that he has already met 2 heroes. But Raina is not fangirling. The gears in her head are turning and she asks the big question, why are there multiple heroes? She wants answers, now. So Cariel leans in and explains that the hero she is thinking of, the one who fights the Demon King, is a special title. He breaks down the power structure. At the very top, like way above the pyramid, is the one and only hero chosen by the Holy Sword. Below them are regular heroes, who are basically superhuman agents for the kingdom. Ram adds that these heroes get nicknames based on their skills. His is Shadow because he specializes in assassination. So, she asks about Akela's title. He reveals he is called the Pursuer thanks to his insane senses and physical strength. He even mentions there are others with epic names like the Berserker and the Arbiter. How cool is that? Raina looks like this info dump is giving her a massive headache, but then she nails a perfect summary. So, titled heroes are the king's special forces, and the Holy Sword hero fights the Demon King. The Holy Swords are the super famous ones, right? Cariel is totally geeking out, saying he wants to meet them all. Rem gives him a smile and says he might just get his wish soon. Really? Cariel asks, his eyes sparkling. Raina just stares at him, completely confused by why he is blushing. Rem leans in and drops a bombshell. Because all the heroes are being gathered for the Holy Sword retrieval mission, Cariel is shocked. He knows the Holy Sword only shows up when a Demon King is born. Ram quickly tries to backtrack, saying it was just a joke. Akela shoots him a death glare for that slip-up. This new guy Ram is seriously weird. Akela cuts in to shut down the conversation. He assures them there is no need to worry about any Demon King. Cariel remembers Akela already told him the Demon King is dead. He decides it is best not to overthink it and just focus on the mission. Just then, the carriage rolls to a stop. They have arrived. Raina immediately asks Akela what kind of trouble they are dealing with this time. He explains they are here to investigate a series of mysterious disappearances happening in this very forest. This forest is permanently dark, even during the day. That is exactly why Akela brought Ram, a specialist in darkness. Akela takes the lead. First things first, he says, let's head to the village that called for our help. As the party heads deeper into the creepy forest, Raina notices that Cariel has suddenly stopped walking. She calls back to him, what is wrong, Cariel? Are you coming or what? With his face hidden by shadows, Cariel asks a strange question. Does she really think a magical beast is behind the disappearances? He points out a weird pattern they have been seeing. The bandits, the sorcerers, all of their recent enemies have been human. Raina just brushes it off, saying it does not matter who the enemy is. Then she teases him. What, are you worried you're not useful against human enemies? She quickly reminds him his plan was the key to catching the sorcerers. Defeated by her logic, Cariel just quietly agrees to hurry up. As he follows, he wonders why they are even worried about him. He tries to convince himself there is no way humans are causing trouble this deep in a dark forest. It has to be a magical beast, right? But as that thought crosses his mind, he freezes in place. A flicker of doubt appears. He quickly shakes the feeling off. No, he thinks to himself, it has to be, he needs it to be. Finally, the group reaches a ridge overlooking their destination. Below them is a silent, creepy-looking village completely shrouded in darkness. Our party finally arrives at the desolate village, but Cariel immediately spots a welcoming party, and they do not look happy. He points them out to the group. Yep, the villagers are here, and the vibe is seriously grim. An old man steps forward to greet them, shaking Akela's armored hand. The elder offers them a place to rest, but Akela is all business. He insists they start the investigation immediately. He agrees to gather some witnesses while Raina and Cariel watch on, knowing this is going to be rough. With that, the investigation begins. Time to get some answers. Akela sits down with the first witness, ready to hear her story. The woman introduces herself as Nora. She works at a diner and had a son. The key word here is had. Yup, her son is missing. He asks for the details of his disappearance. After a heavy pause, Nora begins her horrifying tale. She recalls it was just 3 days ago. They were walking through the forest together. Knowing people had been vanishing, she held her son John's hand as tightly as she could. Her memory shifts in an instant, from a sweet moment with her son to pure absolute terror. She says 1 second she was holding his hand, and the next it was empty. He just vanished into thin air. Akela is stunned. Gone? How could he just disappear right in front of her? Nora explains she heard a strange sound and passed out. When she came to, John was gone. Akela immediately asks about the sound. She describes it as a monster's song, a horrifying shriek that tore through the quiet forest. Next up, another witness. Raina awkwardly tells the guy to introduce himself and spill what he knows. The man Mark says he was part of the search party for the missing villagers. He didn't find anyone, but he tells them he actually caught a glimpse of the monster itself. Wait, what? Raina and Cariel lean in, completely floored by this bombshell. Mark struggles to describe it, but he's sure of two things. The creature had a snake's tail and chicken legs. After hearing both testimonies, Cariel reviews his notes. He thinks he's cracked the case. Cariel confidently declares the monster is a basilisk, but Raina immediately shuts him down, insisting it's a siren. Cariel tries to pull rank, telling her to trust the guide, but Raina claps back, saying her magic school taught her a thing or two as well. Before it gets out of hand, Ram steps in. He tells them it doesn't matter what it's called, they're hunting it tomorrow either way. Raina grumbles but agrees. With the plan set, the party finally calls it a night. The next day arrives, and Raina wakes up feeling pretty awful, like she's coming down with a cold. Cariel points out she looks pale, but Raina just teases him back, asking if he's nervous his basilisk theory is wrong. He denies it, claiming he just slept poorly, but privately, he's got a bad feeling. This doesn't feel like any normal monster case. With their mission clear, find the kid and slay the beast, our heroes step into the seriously creepy forest. Akela decides they'll cover more ground if they split up. He and Ram take the right path, leaving Cariel and Raina with the left. Cariel gets his knife ready, planning to mark their trail so they don't get lost in this maze. Meanwhile, Akela catches the faint scent of blood. Ram suggests they check out the lake first, a good spot for a siren. Akela agrees, smelling water nearby. Before he can move, Ram says he'll scout ahead and vanishes in a burst of speed. Akela watches him go. See, Ram has this awesome ability to move through shadows, making him the perfect scout. Ram figures if there's a lake, a siren might be there. But when he arrives, he finds the lake bed is almost completely bone dry. Back with our other duo, Raina is getting winded from all the searching. Cariel admits they've looked everywhere on the ground. Raina asks where else there is to look. Cariel just points upwards. He gestures to the massive tangled branches above them, which are so thick they block out the sky. And then he spots it. Huge claw marks dug into a tree trunk. Looks like his basilisk theory is back on the table. Raina asks who's going to climb up there and check. She looks at Cariel, then back at herself, and realizes it's her job. With a sigh, she gets on her broom, flying up into the dark canopy. Cariel calls up to her, but she yells back that she's fine, though she admits to herself it's actually pretty scary up there. While exploring the branches, she spots a large, dark opening in the canopy above. You know she has to check it out. She takes a deep breath and pulls herself up, disappearing into the darkness. Inside, she finds what looks like a giant nest or a den, but as she looks around, it seems completely empty. What? Did she just miss that totally creepy face? She scans the shadows for any sign of a monster, but slowly realizes something is off. There is no monster here, so she drops down from the opening. Her face hardens.
Hey.
On the count of 3, she drops in. She steels her nerves and begins to count down, ready for whatever fresh horror awaits. It's completely dark inside. Turns out, after all that buildup, she stepped into the den to find absolutely nothing. What a letdown. She's not used to this kind of oppressive, pitch-black darkness. A bead of nervous sweat trickles down her face. But it's not totally dark. She can see the faint moonlight through the branches. She decides to conjure a small orb of light, just enough to see without blinding herself. With the soft glow pushing back the shadows, she cautiously begins to walk deeper into the cave. Was her heart as always this loud? The pounding is deafening, but her nervousness is making her miss something obvious. And then, a smell hits her. It's a horrible, familiar stench she really shouldn't be used to. The unmistakable smell of death. She gasps, realizing it's been here the whole time. She blames her cold for not noticing sooner. A wave of dread crashes over her. She knows she needs to get out of this place right now. She pivots to leave, but her foot catches on something solid, stopping her in her tracks. What the heck is stuck to her boot? She cautiously kneels down to get a closer look. Her light reveals a massive, decaying shape. Her eyes go wide with recognition. It's a skull. A silent scream rips from her throat as she covers her mouth. Her heart is no longer just pounding. It's trying to hammer its way out of her chest. Terrified of attracting whatever did this, she curls into a ball, frozen like that for a very long time. After what feels like an eternity, she finally manages to take a slow, deep breath, trying to get a grip. She tells herself she's calm now. Okay? Deep breaths. Time to leave this nightmare. But then she realizes something terrifying. That thudding sound isn't her heart, it's something else. And a pair of massive, unblinking eyes appears in the darkness right in front of her. She's completely frozen. Her body won't move an inch. She has no idea what she's looking at, but she's locked in place. Her mind is racing. Is this just fear, or is it some kind of paralysis skill? Her only plan is simple: cast a barrier and bolt. But timing is everything. If she moves at the wrong moment, it's over. When is the right time to run? Alright, it's all or nothing. She lunges forward to escape, but she's suddenly attacked. Meanwhile, down below, Cariel is getting seriously worried. He can't stop pacing. He looks at his bandaged hand, wondering what's taking Raina so long. It feels like an eternity has passed already. Yeah, this is a bad sign. He decides to grab the others so they can all go up and check on her. But right as he turns to leave, a massive explosion erupts from above. Akela and Ram hear the blast too. Without a second thought, Akela tells Ram they need to check on Cariel's party. Now, Cariel just stares up at the smoke, completely stunned. What in the world just happened up there? A body comes falling out of the smoke and dust. It's Raina. Cariel doesn't even think, he just bolts. He has to catch her before she hits the ground. He slides in at the last second, catching her perfectly in his arms. He starts to ask if she's okay, but the words die in his throat when he gets a look at her face. She's covered in blood. Her eyes are wide with sheer terror as she gasps for air. Cariel is horrified. What in the world happened to her up there? He immediately starts casting a healing spell as she struggles to speak. Cariel, the monster, he pulls her close, telling her to just breathe and take her time. A little later, Raina is resting up and explaining what happened. She ran into a monster. It actually caught her and was dragging her away in its mouth. So she waited for an opening, then blew a massive hole in the ground to escape. Akela asks the obvious question. Why didn't it just eat her? Cariel reveals it's a basilisk. They trap their prey in an illusion and eat them later. Akela says they need to move fast to find the missing kid and asks Cariel to come with them. Of course, Cariel agrees. But as he turns to leave, Raina weakly calls out his name. She whispers, her eyes full of worry, "You have to come back alive." He glances back over his shoulder with a confident smile. Yeah, don't worry about it. In any party, a guide's job is to eliminate variables before the fight even starts. As they walk, Cariel begins to prep the team for what's coming. He explains that this type of basilisk doesn't turn you to stone, it creates illusions. The key is simple, do not look it in the eyes. Guides are like strategists. They analyze every piece of info on a monster to give their party the ultimate advantage in a fight. They're masters of monster ecology and hunting tactics, which is why they're the perfect support for powerful mages. But let's be real, when it comes to throwing punches themselves, guides are actually pretty weak. Akela is surprised when they reach a clearing this deep in the forest. He notes that the foul stench of the monster is way stronger here. They're getting close. Ram pinpoints the exact smell. It's like a mix of chicken and snake, but there's something else too. Cariel's eyes widen in horror. That second smell, it means they aren't dealing with just one monster. Sea monsters have ranks just like adventurers, lower, mid, and the terrifying upper class. And basilisks, that weird fusion of a snake and a chicken, are a notoriously nasty breed. With that illusion gaze and their lightning-fast movements, there's no doubt. These things are upper-class monsters. He can't believe the size of it. And how did it get so close, so fast? And just like that, his body seizes up. He's frozen solid again. It's the exact same paralyzing fear he felt when he first encountered a monster as a kid. But before the monster can land a killing blow, Akela shoves him out of the way. He slices the creature to ribbons in a massive spray of blood. Akela checks on Cariel, telling him to stay back and let them handle the fighting. Cariel can only stammer out his thanks. But the fight's not over. Akela suddenly shouts a warning. We've got more incoming. Ram tells Cariel to focus on the mission and find the child while they hold the line. Cariel doesn't hesitate. He knows his place. In a fight like this, he'd just be a liability. His job right now is clear: analyze the situation and find that missing kid. Meanwhile, another monster lunges straight for Akela, who yells for backup from Ram. Ram intercepts the attack, taking a deep gash to the shoulder but barely even flinching. He roars, "Don't worry, this is nothing." He remembers Cariel's warning and immediately averts his gaze. Don't make eye contact. Then he drives his fist straight into the monster's side, making it shriek in pain. He follows up with a brutal combo, pummeling the beast into a bloody pulp. Ram stands over the corpse, catching his breath. But wait, something isn't right here. He looks closer at the body. This thing, it doesn't have a snake's tail. He's wondering if this is even a basilisk at all when another one appears right behind him. Without even a moment's hesitation, he spins and punches straight through the new monster's chest, completely destroying it. Ram starts to celebrate his one-punch kill, but then the mangled flesh of the monster starts to bubble and heal itself. He stares in total disbelief. No way. It has regeneration? Watching from the sidelines, Cariel is freaking out. This is impossible. Basilisks do not have regeneration abilities, but his guide instincts kick in. He knows there's only one way to kill something that regenerates. He screams, "The heart, you have to destroy the heart." The fully healed monster lets out a furious roar as Akela closes in for the kill. He wraps his cloak tightly around his gauntlet, getting ready to deliver a devastating blow. He moves like a phantom, closing the distance in the blink of an eye. He perfectly dodges its snapping beak and whips out his sword in one smooth motion. Akela grabs the beast by the neck and drives his blade deep into its chest, aiming straight for the heart. The creature's beak opens in a final silent scream of pure agony. With one last brutal shove, the monster is completely obliterated. Akela stands over the remains, catching his breath. That should be the last of them, but something still feels off. But then a chilling laugh echoes through the forest, stopping him dead in his tracks. Ram rushes to his side. The two heroes stand back to back, ready for whatever is coming next. The color drains from Cariel's face. He knows that laugh. It can't be that. And from the shadows, a new figure emerges. Its massive wings hide its true form. The real monster finally shows herself. It's a siren, and she lets out a terrifying shriek. Suddenly, Akela's world dissolves into a hazy, electric blue void. He's trapped in some kind of illusion. Akela grits his teeth, realizing he has to break out of this thing. The giant chicken is approaching fast. Meanwhile, Cariel is also totally frozen. He can't believe the siren is actually here. How is that even possible? The monster's haunting song echoes through the forest, a mesmerizing and deadly melody. And yes, my friends, that is the siren, fused to the chicken's butt. And it's working. Cariel feels his mind slipping, his vision blurring as the hypnotic tune takes hold. But he's not going down without a fight. He literally smashes his ears and destroys his eardrums. The pain is unreal, but he shoves the thought aside. Doesn't matter, he can heal them later. The mission comes first. Meanwhile, Akela is still completely frozen. Looming over him is the monstrous basilisk, its giant, unblinking eye locking onto its prey. Just as it's about to strike, Cariel comes in like a freight train, tackling Akela to the ground and out of harm's way. Cariel wastes no time, pulling the groggy hero to his feet. "You okay?" he asks, urgency in his voice. With the basilisk hissing behind them, Cariel pulls Akela back. Then he realizes someone is missing. Wait, where's Ram? Yep, he's also frozen. They quickly grab him and run. As they regroup, Ram thanks them, saying he owes them his life. He asks if Cariel's ears are okay. Yeah, Akela used holy power to heal them. Now they have to figure out this completely unknown chimera. Cariel pinpoints the real threat. The siren's song combined with the basilisk's illusions is a deadly 1-2 punch. No one can withstand both at once. Akela realizes if it regenerates, they have to aim for the heart. But where is it? Does this thing even have one? Or maybe two? This is where Cariel shines. He explains that a normal basilisk is a snake-chicken fusion and the chicken part holds the heart. But this is a siren-basilisk hybrid. Suddenly it clicks. This is just as absurd as the golem they fought before. He grits his teeth, his mind racing. If it's the same principle as last time, there has to be an answer. He just needs to think. He's sure he's overlooking something obvious. The answer has to be simple, hidden in plain sight. While Curiel racks his brain, Akela turns to Ram. He tells him to let the guide think while the two of them figure out the battle plan. Sketching at a quick map on Curiel's cloak, Akela lays it out. They'd have to fight through a whole army of basilisks to reach the siren. It's a suicide mission. So the plan is simple but dangerous. One person acts as bait to draw the heat, while the other makes a beeline for the siren. Akela confirms his sword still has one charge of holy power left. They've only got one shot at this. Without hesitation, Ram volunteers to be the bait. This leaves Akela with that single critical chance to strike the siren. With their strategy set, they turn back to Curiel. Akela asks, "So guide, have you figured it out? Which body is the real one?" Curiel looks up, his eyes filled with grim certainty. "No time," he says. "I'll tell you on the way." And just like that, they move out. Ram takes the lead, calmly walking toward the horde of monsters. Ram thinks to himself that his gear isn't exactly heroic, but his skill helps him blend into the night, becoming one with the shadows. And with that, he explodes into action, launching himself directly into the swarm of basilisks. He's a total blur, weaving between snapping jaws and slashing claws with unbelievable skill. One basilisk lunges, but Ram effortlessly parries its attack, sending it flying. Ram's fist connects, completely splitting the monster in two. Then, he spots the siren. This is his chance. He bursts from his hiding spot, moving at blinding speed. He obliterates all the monster chickens that stand in his way. Flying through the air, he aims his strike directly at the siren's core. This has to work. He feels the impact. It's a direct hit. Yes, or so he thought. Wait a minute. Something feels wrong. A sudden, crushing pressure snaps him out of it, revealing the horrifying truth. He wasn't attacking the siren at all. He walked right into a trap and is now completely surrounded by basilisks. The world distorts around him, revealing he's caught in an even more powerful illusion. This is bad. This is really bad. Now that everyone's attention is on Ram, Akela moves in. The siren glances back, but it's too late. Akela is coming in for the finishing blow. We have a brief flashback of Akela asking, "Guide, which one is the real core?" Curiel stares back grimly, his strategy finally clear. As Akela literally tears the monster apart, Curiel shouts the order. "The basilisk! Aim for the basilisk!" With the siren sliced in two, Akela is freed from his illusion. Just in time, because he is about to get pecked, the monster lets out one last horrifying shriek before its body completely explodes in a shower of gore. Absolute overkill. Meanwhile, Curiel is deep inside the basilisk's lair, following a seriously nasty smell. He's thinking the missing kid must be near the monster's food storage. And yikes, he finds the pantry all right. But it's just a grim pile of half-eaten corpses. What a nightmare. But wait, just past the horror show, he spots him. It's the missing kid, out cold but definitely still breathing. Curiel knows he's on borrowed time. He has to get the boy out of there, and he has to do it now. But the second he makes his move, a massive basilisk lunges out of the shadows right behind him. Talk about bad timing. He's frozen stiff, completely caught off guard. But his eyes lock onto the kid, who's only 10 steps away. So close. The basilisk screeches and lunges. Curiel steels himself, thinking, here we go. With some slick reflexes, he dodges the snakehead and makes a desperate sprint for the boy. In one fluid movement, he scoops up the kid and throws him over his shoulder. Mission accomplished, right? Not quite. He's already realizing there's no way he can outrun this thing. He needs a plan B, and fast. Then, he spots a dead basilisk. That's where Akela took it down by stabbing it. And that gives him an absolutely insane idea. He jumps over the dead one's back, hoping the other chases him. See folks, Curiel was banking on the fact that that part of the floor was already weakened by Akela smashing it earlier. And once the big chicken steps on it, it immediately caves in. But what his genius plan didn't calculate was him getting dragged into the hole as well. Curiel holds on for dear life, bracing himself. The basilisk falls through the hole and down into the forest floor. The impact is absolutely massive. At the last second, Curiel snags a tree branch with one hand, desperately holding onto the kid with the other. Come on, he grunts, struggling to pull the child up to safety. He's using every last bit of strength he has, trying to hoist the boy up. Just a little more. No, his fingers are slipping. His grip on the boy's clothes is failing. And just like that, he loses his hold. He can only watch in absolute horror as the child plummets into the darkness. But just as all hope seems lost, an armored hand clamps down on his wrist, stopping the fall. He looks up, and it's Ram. Perfect timing. Ram pulls them back to solid ground. He just calmly asks, "Are you okay, guide?" And just like that, the case is closed. The kid is safe, the monsters are gone, and our heroes are victorious. Later, back in the village, Raina is watching over a sleeping Curiel. She's kicking herself for not casting a defensive spell when he left. Outside, the rescued boy's mom, Nora, walks up to Ram with a huge smile. She's overjoyed and tells him the whole village has prepared a feast to thank him. She insists that he has to be there. She notices he's hiding in the shadows and asks why. Ram just plays it cool, saying it's an old habit. As she leaves, she tells him to bring his guide friend along too. Ram promises he'll pass on the message. The second she's gone, Ram lets out a huge sigh of relief. He doesn't even notice Akela calling him. Ram, are you even listening? Akela calls out. Sorry, got distracted for a moment. Learned anything from the monster corpse? Ram asks. Akela confirms the results are in, but they need to talk about something else first. He leads Ram down a secluded alleyway for a private chat. It's time to break down what this all means for the future. Akela gets straight to the point. He connects this crazy siren-basilisk fusion to that previous case with the contaminated golem cores. He reveals the substance used to fuse the two monsters together is almost identical to the stuff that corrupted the golems. The plot thickens. Akela puts two and two together. He realizes it's almost certain that the same shady organization is behind both of these attacks. But Akela says that's not even the main point. What he really needs to talk about is the fundamental relationship between the Demon King and the Holy Sword. See, he explains that whenever a Demon King is about to appear, it's always announced by some grand prophecy or a major event. And at the exact same time, the Holy Sword gets a vision of the location and time of its arrival. It's like they're fated rivals, an unbreakable bond. This has been the ironclad rule for centuries, a cycle that repeats itself about every 100 years. You know the drill. But that rule, it was broken. It was shattered by the legendary hero Persian, who managed to kill not one but two Demon Kings. Akela lays out the timeline. Persian's first kill was 30 years ago, and the second was just 10 years ago. That completely breaks the 100-year cycle. Ram theorizes, so you think Persian broke the rule? Or was it because the Demon King appeared again unexpectedly? That's not the point, Akela explains. Because that second unexpected Demon King appearance, the ancient rule is now totally useless. A new one could pop up literally any time. Ram is clearly shaken by this and asks if he's just guessing. Akela admits, yeah, it's a theory. There's no hard proof yet. He confesses that even he doesn't fully get it, but he says there is one thing she knows for certain. This mission to get the Holy Sword back, it's going to be on a whole other level. It's unlike anything they have ever faced before. The scene then cuts over to the royal palace in Vinart. We see a lone robed figure standing on a high balcony looking out over the city. A messenger arrives and addresses him. Everything is ready, hero. We'll depart soon. And the man inside is revealed to be none other than Persian himself, the legendary hero. Ram is walking down a hallway, his mind a total mess. He's thinking about the Holy Sword, the weird monsters, and probably what's for dinner. And who does he bump into? None other than Cariel, fresh out of bed. Ram, being the good guy he is, immediately checks if he's okay. Cariel laughs awkwardly. You guys did all the work. I barely did anything. Ram replies, yeah, you're right. Just kidding. We couldn't have done it without you. And they suddenly burst out laughing. With the ice broken, Ram gets a little more serious. He asks Cariel if they can talk for a minute. Cariel's cool with it, so Ram suggests they head to a nearby restaurant for a proper chat. Nothing like a good meal to go with a heavy conversation. As they make their way through the village, Ram mentions he has a question for Cariel, our resident guide and strategist. They grab an outdoor table and Cariel's all ears asking what's on the hero's mind. Ram doesn't waste any time. He wants to know why, back in the forest, they had to target the basilisk to defeat the siren. It's been bugging him. Cariel just smiles, admitting things were a little too hectic to give a full PowerPoint presentation during the fight. He explains his big brain logic. The basilisk was the chimera's real body. After all, a siren breathes with gills, which are pretty useless in a forest with no water. Ram is impressed by the simple genius of it, while Cariel looks like he's just relieved his wild guess actually paid off. Now it's Cariel's turn to ask something. He brings up the moment they first arrived and ran into those bandits. He points out that while everyone else was out greeting people, Ram stayed hidden in the carriage, avoiding the sunlight. He wants to know why. Ram turns the question back on him, asking if Cariel remembers how they actually met. Time for a little flashback. And what a memory it is. Cariel flashes back to the absolute whirlwind of violence as Ram appeared out of nowhere and just dismantled those bandits. Ram knows it must have been a shock, and Cariel admits the whole thing was a blur. One moment bandits, the next dead bandits. Then Ram gets serious. He explains that people only see the shiny hero persona, not the reality behind the mask. To save people, he had to become a hero. And becoming a hero meant he had to kill monsters. But it wasn't just monsters. The grim reality is that to save some people, he also had to kill other people. The job description was simple, really. He just kept killing and killing. Until one day, a terrifying thought popped into his head. What is he if he takes off the hero's helmet? The answer was simple and horrifying. He's just a killing machine. That single thought broke something inside him. After that, he became too scared to ever take the helmet off again. He grew afraid of the way people looked at him. He couldn't stand their admiration, the way they cheered for a hero he knew he wasn't. So in the end, he made a choice. He decided to hide in the shadows and run away from the spotlight. He knows deep down that he's not the perfect hero everyone sees. He's something much darker. He quickly clarifies that he doesn't hate people, it's actually the complete opposite. And that's the whole problem. He cares about them so much that he can't let them get close to his bloodstained hands. He finishes his story with a nervous laugh, thanking Cariel for letting him unload all that baggage. Yikes. Cariel quietly takes it all in. He realizes he's only ever thought about the cool parts of being a hero, never the heavy price they pay. But even after hearing all of Ram's dark secrets, He looks him dead in the eye and says his respect for heroes hasn't changed one bit. Cariel argues there's a world of difference between just killing someone and killing to save someone. He's not ignoring the darkness, but he says the fact that Ram still struggles with it is what truly matters. Then he drops some real wisdom. The brighter the light, the darker the shadow, right? He tells Ram that facing a deep darkness just means he's also walking towards an incredibly bright light. It all comes down to your perspective. It's about which direction you choose to look. Cariel explains that if you just turn around from the shadow, you'll see the brilliant light that was casting it all along. Man, this kid is a therapist. He tells Ram not to get lost in the dark side. After all, he just saved his life yesterday. That's got to count for something. Ram is visibly moved and thanks him. Cariel just says it was an honor to help a real hero. And of course, someone was secretly watching from the shadows. The cloaked figure notes Cariel's interesting choice of words, then vanishes. After their heart-to-heart, the group reunites to say goodbye to Ram as he prepares to head out of the village. The gang waves back and Cariel tries to hide his tears. A while later, Ram's on his journey when he senses something's wrong. He feels like he forgot something important. His first guess? Maybe he left the moon behind. My dude, what? Meanwhile, the villagers are super bummed out. They had a whole party planned with cake and gifts, but the heroes just dipped. Ram clenches his fist, a memory flashing through his mind. He remembers why he wanted to be a hero in the first place. It was never about glory. It was about helping people just like his brothers did. And right on cue, a horrifying scream rips through the peaceful afternoon. Perfect timing. He whips around, pinpointing the scream's origin in the forest. This might make him late for the Holy Sword quest, but there's no choice to be made. He's a hero. That's what heroes do. He shouts that he has to go back. He didn't sign up to be a hero just to hunt for some fancy sword. And with that, he's off. Meanwhile, Akela has gone to the cathedral. He's there to hear the super secret part of the prophecy about the Holy Sword. With some time to kill, Cariel and Raina decide to explore the town and grab some supplies for the road. Cariel suggests they split up and do their own thing for a bit. But Raina's not so sure. But then she suddenly remembers Cariel bravely carrying her when she was unconscious and her brain just short-circuits. After a very obvious cough to clear her throat, she has a sudden change of heart about the whole splitting up thing. Blushing like crazy, she asks if maybe, just maybe, they should stick together instead. Real smooth, Raina. But Cariel's already gone to a magazine stall, where he's asking the vendor if they have any info about heroes. Raina's mind immediately goes to some weird fantasy where he's asking about marriage with a hero. Not weird, girl. Cariel, completely oblivious, grabs a magazine and starts flipping through it, all business. He's trying to find the section on the Holy Sword retrieval. He notes it's been a while since the hero Perseon passed it down to his student Asania. Aha! The article explains that the prophecy about the sword comes in two parts. Classic quest design. Part 1 announces that the sword will appear. Part 2, the top secret part given only to heroes, reveals the location. Once a hero grabs the sword and brings it back to the kingdom, it's mission complete. Easy peasy. But while he's busy browsing, the ominous hooded dude is watching him intently. Meanwhile, Ram is deep in the forest, but something's off. He notes that for how far he's gone, there are no monsters. It's too quiet. Deciding it's time to turn back, he's suddenly stopped cold by something he didn't see coming. He lets out a pained grunt. The attack was so fast he's completely disoriented, with no idea what just hit him. And before he can even process the first hit, a monstrous beast with a jaw full of razor-sharp teeth screams at his face. "I'm not a monster, you know." That's a wrap on this recap. Hit that subscribe button to help us keep pumping out awesome content. Catch you in the next one.